Yo, what's going on YouTube? Kronos here, and welcome back to another PSO2 video. So, with Ancients right around the corner, I wanted to do a little bit of talk about food items. Since, grabbing food buffs are going to be fairly important, along with region mag buffs, I figured I would show you guys kind of what I do when it comes to food, since the questions have been popping up a bit more on stream. But before we jump into that, guys, if you're new to the channel, my name is Chrono. I cover primarily PSO2 content. Would much appreciate a subscribers work our way towards that 10K mark. But anyway, let's go ahead and jump into this. So here we are at the Ryuker, where we usually grab our food from, or you're usually going to grab your food from in most cases. Let's pull up the food and take a look. So food effects are not actually that complicated, but you'll find a lot of people don't really use food effects right. Now, I will toss a disclaimer. Outside of just getting 10 food, you're good to go for the most part. Just having 10 of whatever food it is you want to use is going to give you full low temp damage resistance buff, which you absolutely want. You'll get a good effect. You'll be good to go. But we don't want to waste our food, right? So we're still early on in Kavaris, and using that much food in one slot can be pretty wasteful, to be honest. So I actually recommend the food that I have set up. I'm going to pull up my usual recipes, and you guys can see that the recipe I'm using for Kavaris actually has a ton of ingredients, right? So we've got 3 meat, we have 3 rich meat, 2 light meat, we have rich and light seafood, we have rich and light cabbage, and then we have specifically just one fruit. So why do we do that? Well, it's to get a few different effects. I'm going to go through them today. Now, I'm not going to say that my specific food setup is the end all be all. You should always use this food and never use anything else. It's more about what you're trying to achieve with your food itself. But definitely use 10 food. So first off, we have the effect of the actual food itself and the region match effect. So as long as you're matching the region that you're in the food, you get the region match effect. It tells you flat out, if you include 4 more items with the same type of flavor from the region you're currently in, you receive a region match effect. So let's go ahead and start that up. What we did beforehand was we used 3 meat, right? At 3, we can see that we don't get anything outside of just the food potency. We know meat gives us increased potency. Doesn't matter what meat we take, we can actually split this up all the way, right? We have increased potency for every single piece of meat we get, but as you notice, we don't get anything outside of the low temperature damage resistance for the region match effect. Now, if we were to change things up a little bit, and let's say 3 or 2 meat, so 2 crisp meat here, but then jump up to 2 crisp squid. Oh, all of a sudden now we have the crisp effect, potency to weak point, right? So we get weak point bonus for having the crisp effect for having 2 crisp setups. Kind of see the idea here. Essentially, you want to kind of mix and match a bit, so you spread the amount of food that you need fairly thin, but get as many bonuses as possible. So for meat, we've got potency. For fish, what was fish? Let's see. Fish is HP, which is not bad. I believe fruit is PP, which is not bad at all. And then we have damage resistance coming from vegetable. So the reason I only go 1 on fruit is because fruit gives us a good amount of PP just for having 1 in. Like, you're getting 10 right off the bat. Every extra piece of fruit is only giving you 1 more PP, and getting 10 for just 1 piece of fruit is plenty in my opinion. So I usually go that route. And because I mostly care about, as much potency as possible, we have as much meat as possible in here. So my setup personally is I like to go light and rich. A combination of light and rich will give you, what is it? So light and rich, and then we go over here to light and rich as well, I believe. Light and rich, where is it? Robust, there we go, it's right above it, I can't see. So what that does is it gives us a few effects. We're getting the refreshing effect, which is PP recovery, but we're still not done. So we're gonna keep going with light and rich. And now we've got enough overall. Actually, if I just drop this back and just get the rich one, we have enough. So essentially we have 4 of each right now. We're at 8, as you can see, 8 out of 10, that we have the effect PP consumption and PP recovery rate. This is pretty universal across the board in my opinion. I feel like this is kind of one of the better setups. You can go crisps instead and just get PP consumption minus, but I like PP recovery rate, that way I can continue to attack. And then I just build on that moving forward. So like we mentioned beforehand, we know that having a bunch of fruit isn't super important for us. So we just grab 1 rich fruit to kind of even us out of 8. Since we have 3 here, we're getting 1 more in this, so it's 4 and 4. And then we round that out with picking up 1 more rich and 1 more light. What that does is it increases the consumption and the PP recovery rate. We know we can't get another version of this, right? Because we don't have enough to get another one. You need 4 to get the region match effect. So we're just going to buff this a little bit more. And what that gives us overall is we get 8.8% potency, 7% damage resistance, 7 HP, and 10 PP. Now, you could go hardcore further into the HP and PP. You could go harder into the damage or the potency. You could skip vegetable altogether. But keep in mind, these have a base effect that's a good chump, but afterwards, you're not getting nearly as much per point by investing more points in them. So I feel like it's better to keep you spread thin fairly nicely. And it means that you use less materials overall, right? Like, imagine if I used 5 of this Kavaris, or this light Kavaris octopus every single time I ate, I'd be, hemorrhaging this specific resource. When in reality, if I have this spread so thin, it's nice and easy. I basically have 11 times that I can eat before I even have to think about anything, right? As opposed to what, like 3 if I was using 5 of these. Actually, excuse me, 2 if I could math properly. Now, you can get much further into this, but I feel like this covers most of the basics. I don't want to get too complicated with this. Hopefully this does help for people moving forward into going into the Gorge and going after Ancients. Good luck to you guys with all of your drops. If you have any questions, feel free to toss them in the comments below. Like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you want to keep up with more. I'll see you guys next time. Take care. Peace out.